Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
How is your relationship with your dad now?
You know, we're in a strange place in our lives in the moment. It's very hard to go through an entire career being with your old man and then to not have him around anymore in terms of the boxing side of things. But I just felt that that's what I needed. Because at the moment, he can't separate business and boxing from just being my dad. And I said that to him. Right now, I don't need an advisor. I don't need a coach. I don't need a mentor. I just need a dad.
Yeah.
He's still trying to figure that out. So I've just got to let him do his thing.
A reconciliation between father and son would be nice, but it's not a necessity. Junior himself said he wants to be a dad. He wants Sebastian's son, who he is somewhat of a surrogate dad to have a brother. When he does have that son, or that daughter, he'll have to work it out the best he can, just like his dad is trying to work it out the best he can. Senior's not that much older than me. A Jamaican dad, like self, that's what's contributed to the drill sergeant relationship he has with his son. I don't want to go too deep into that right now. More than likely that, and the relationship he had with his elder brothers Simon and Peter, who were also pro fighters. They always used to tell him, you're not going to make it, you're not going to be shit. And that was one of the contributory driving forces behind his success. If you look at old school footage of Eubank, he'll always talk about his want to prove his brothers wrong. So the relationship between Senior, his brother, and more than likely his dad, are not of the touchy-feely type of relationships that we see today in society. His son doesn't want a trainer. His son don't want someone to tell him to wake up 7 o'clock in the morning to run. He doesn't want advice on his boxing career no more. He just wants a dad. But when he says that, what does he mean, just wants a dad? I don't think he could break down exactly what he means by that. Does he want his dad to be his friend? Parents make shitty friends for their kids. If your kids all the way through their teenage years like you like they like their friends, you're doing something the wrong. I probably aim that more at dads than mums, though. Your friends will let you harbour secrets that perhaps should be in the police's hands. That's what your friends will do. Your parents ain't supposed to be tolerating that. Your dad ain't supposed to be tolerating that. You can't get Senior to be a dad any different way. He is who he is. Things happen for a reason. At this point, it's probably best that there's separation so Chris can discover who he is and how he wants to do things on his own terms. And like he said in this interview, basically he's saying if you go after your goals and do it your way, then you've succeeded already, whether you attain them goals or not. I hope both of them can find some peace in their grieving. Sebastian, Chris's brother, Chris's son, his passing probably accelerated the tensions between the two. Grieving ain't easy. I think it will come round full circle. When Chris does have a biological kid, he's going to want his granddad in the kid's life. And there may be a reconciliation then. And if there's not, sometimes you got to move on. Try not to hold grudges and hate for that person in your heart. Having observed Senior for what? Some 35 years? Where do the years go? When Chris does have a son, Senior will be tempted to try and take over and tell Chris how to parent the kid. But he'll be old enough, Senior, and wise enough to know. You do that, you might end up not seeing your grandson. And I don't think Senior will be able to handle that one. Back off, Senior. Let your son do what he's doing and be there to catch him if necessary.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Do you think too many boxers stay in the game for too long?
I mean, what's too long? If you don't have the money to support yourself and your family, it's not too long. You got to do what you got to do as a man. And that's most of the reason why these guys stay fighting when they shouldn't really be, because they need money. But for me, it's a conscious thing about getting hit in the head. It's not a good thing. I don't know if it's an age thing, but I notice I forget things more than I used to a couple of years ago. I forget names or telephone numbers or things I'm supposed to do. You know, that's from taking blows to the head, I would imagine. That's something that I'm very aware of. Sometimes I'll just do body sparring outside of a fight camp because it gets you in shape, it gets you back into that fight mentality, but you're not taking blows to the head, unnecessary blows to the head.
A lot of people are saying that Eubank Jr. has the weakest fight on the undercard of Beterbiev and Bivol on October the 12th in Saudi Arabia, and they're right. Kamil Zarimeta is best known for his 2 step-up fights against Golovkin and Jaime Munguia, and basically not showing up. Eubank has avoided fights like Johnny Beck for the unified middleweight title, priced himself out of the Canelo fight. No interest in fighting Hamza Shiraz. Avenged the 4th round stoppage loss to Liam Smith last year with a 10th round stoppage. But you have to wonder if he's over that shocker of a beating he took from Liam Smith in the 4th round. And hearing what he said there in that clip, it's no wonder he's avoided a list of good opponents to fight Zerameta. Is self-preservation kicking in? Eubank perhaps scared of getting hurt now? Trying to cash out for the last few big checks that he can in boxing without stretching himself? Or is that too harsh? After Zerameta, he's going to have to step up, and he knows that. The method seems to be, in Riyadh season, Turkey will give you one walkover. Let's call it a walkover. And then after that, it's the step up. That's the only way you're going to get the big money, is the step up. I'm sure he's getting paid well for Zerameta, but not as much as he will for the step up. He put it down to inactivity why he didn't take the Canelo fight. But after fighting Zerameta, that'll be what, 2 fights in nearly 2 years? He still won't be ready for Canelo. He's forgetting things and he's putting it down to taking punches, brain damage. It's a tough old sport, but if you want that big money, the promoters, the media, the fans are going to demand you take fights to warrant big money. And he knows this.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Peter McGrail is going to have a tough fight against Brad Foster, I believe. But if he gets through as expected, they're already planning for the next MATVHROOM versus Queensbury 5 versus 5. That will pit the UK amateur standout, Peter McGrail. 9 wins, 1 loss, 5-a-side distance, 28 years of age, against Dennis McCann, 16-0, 80-side distance, 23 years of age. McGrail, MATVHROOM, McCann, Queensbury is a very good matchup for the 5 versus 5. Very good matchup. McCann will be a favourite after McGrail lost his unbeaten records in that shocker last year on the Bam Rodriguez, Sonny Edwards undercard. But I like the fight. Young Dennis, he looked the goods against Baluta in their anticipated rematch, which was on the undercard of when Brad Pauls took the British middleweight title from Nathan Heaney. Made some major adjustments from the first fight with Baluta, where in my opinion he lost. And he looked the goods. He did look really good. Got to say that. Career best performance. McCann is the British and EBU 122 pound champion, and both organisations have ordered him to face McGrail to throw into the mix.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
GALAIL YAFAI, 31 years of age, 7-0-0, 5-inside the distance. Sonny Edwards, 28 years of age, 21-1-0, with 4 inside the distance. Will meet November the 30th in Birmingham in what will be a rematch of their ABA semi-final in 2015, where Sonny took a razor-tight decision over GALAIL. GALAIL will have a warm-up on the 28th of this month in Sheffield on the undercard of Rhiannon Dixon versus Terry Harper. GALAIL is a Birmingham boy, so Sonny will be in hostile away territory, so to speak. That won't affect him, though. They haven't discussed what or if any belts will be at stake, but who really cares about that? It's a great British showdown. Very good. Very, very good. Looking forward to that one.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
The heavyweight scene wouldn't be strong as it is now without the Brits. Wouldn't have it going on. Let's keep it real. Look at the schedule. Next week, 21st of September, Joshua challenges Daniel Dubois for the IBF title. 96,000 packed in at Wembley. 12th of October, the rematch, the highly anticipated rematch for the British heavyweight title. Champion Fabio Wardley defends against Fraser Clark. First fight was excellent. It ended in a draw, so now we've got to
do it again.
Then we go to the 21st of December. Tyson Fury will attempt to avenge the first loss of his pro career against undisputed heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk. A rematch of their historical, groundbreaking fight from May this year. Joshua and Dubois have already had impressive wins this year. British-based heavyweights like Martin Bakole have definitely shown up this year. Even heavyweights like Derek Chisora said to be past his best. And Joe Joyce in rehabilitation after them devastating losses last year to Zhang put on a beautiful fight. Moses Itorma, arguably the most exciting heavyweight prospect. Although we might not have no belts after the Fury-Usyk rematch, if Usyk manages to retain his titles, I would still say we're setting the pace for how it should be done.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
On the zone, Eduardo Hernandez got a technical decision in the 6th rounder over Thomas MATTICE. Now, Eduardo's defense is shocking. And if they're going to tell me the scorecards are not controversial, albeit close, definitely close, he was very aggressive, trying to cut off the ring, and he worked the body. But 2 scores of 59-55. The other one was 58-56. All in Hernandez's favour. I'm not sure about that. I'm really not sure about that. But the counters he took, and they're saying that both the cuts, looked like more cuts were in his face, he was bleeding everywhere, Hernandez, were all caused by the head. I just read the Three Kings review of the fight, and I watched it again, and it was an uppercut that caused the cut that stopped the fight. But they're saying it was a head clash. They should order an immediate rematch. WBC Intercontinental Super Featherweight title was at stake. While the referee waiting for the scores to be called out, David Diamante seemed to have a lot of trouble reading the scores out. A lot of trouble. I'm not saying it means anything. And you can see MATTICE turning his body away like, yeah, let's get out of here. He knows what's going to happen. And the inevitable one-sided scorecard in Hernandez's favour was read out. Looks like MATTICE had Hernandez's number, taller, rangier, was picking his punches, and when the fight was stopped, he was in a groove, moving, countering. Every time he threw the right with any type of intention, he seemed to land it. And they should really order an immediate rematch. They really should. That's all I'll say on it, yeah? Can't cry over spilt milk. Give MATTICE a rematch. He deserves it. If there's any justice in the sport. If there's any justice in the sport. MATTICE should have been awarded a 6th-round TKO. And if it was a genuine mistake, why not just amend it today? But, you know, there's a Matchroom card in Mexico. They're not going to do that. They're just not going to do that.
And he won this damn fight. This is a disgrace.
Listen. Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
The middleweight division, man. The middleweight division. Nobody's talking about there's a WBA middleweight title fight today. Because a 41-year-old ERISLANDY Lara is the WBA middleweight champion, beating guys like Thomas Lamana and Gary O'Sullivan, etc., etc. And his challenger is an inactive career junior welterweight / welterweight, where he's been champion twice, Danny Garcia, 36 years of age. The inactivity between both men and the lack of competition at 160 is absolutely crazy. How this is being sanctioned as a world title fight. But that's the position we find ourselves in. I just want to know what Danny Garcia can do that the likes of Canelo and Paul Williams struggled to do against ERISLANDY Lara. What would happen if I put Danny Garcia in there with Jarrett Hurd at 154, let alone 160? He's not beating a 6-foot super welterweight who's probably rehydrating up to 168, near to 170. And yeah, Lara lost a close decision to Jarrett Hurd. How did Danny get a title shot at 160? How would he have deserved a title shot at 154 or even at 147? And the PBC haven't been held in the dock about this fight in America, while they're just destroying weight classes, prestigious weight classes in boxing, with these fights. You'll have to forgive me for not wanting or having the energy to do the paper trail on how Lara ended up champion. I'm not doing it. I'm just not going to do it. He had some title at 154, I do remember that. I don't know if that's transferred into him getting a shot or getting emailed a 160-pound title or whatever cause of action it took to get the belt. But he's champion, 41 years of age. Now, he doesn't move around the ring like he used to. He stands in the pocket a lot more. So perhaps Danny can make a competitive spectacle. Perhaps. But Danny's 68-inch reach is not going to get past that 75-inch reach. Southpaw lead from Lara. He's going to get picked to pieces. Now, Danny's always shown a decent beard from when he peaked my radar 2010, 2011. So he might be able to take it to the limit like he did against Spence, but he's not winning that fight. Danny was talking about becoming a freeweight world champion. Yeah, that would be a milestone. Another milestone would be if he stopped for the first time in his career, and it wouldn't shock me if he did get stopped. I'm picking Lara. But he is 41. He could fall apart suddenly. At that age, that could always happen. But I'm still going to pick Lara on points. Unanimous points decision. This is on the undercard of Canelo versus Berlanga. The other fight is Caleb Plant versus Trevor McCumbee. They're charging $90 apparently for this card across the pond. Expect a lot of people looking for them illegal streams with a fire stick to watch this fight.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
They're apparently scrambling for an opponent after Team Tank Davis thought the Lomachenko unification at 135 was a sure thing, but the IBF title holder, Lomachenko, for whatever reasons, thought he was getting lowballed by PBC or those representing Tank, or he didn't fancy the fight. At 36, he had previously called Tank out and got crickets. So he got was crickets, and I guess Team Tank thought, yeah, we can age Lomachenko out, and when we're ready, we'll make our move. Lomachenko didn't bite though. He said he'll just sit out until he's ready to fight, which is a strategy he's adopted with Shakur Stevenson and now Tank. I was mad at Loma, and I'm still not impressed that he turned down the Tank fight, but he's just flexing like how he sees the PBC fighters flex on that side of the street. That's what he's doing.
Monkey see, monkey do. You have to follow.
Now, it says here that Teofimo Lopez, WBO 140-pound champion, calls out Gervonta Davis as promoters make haste in desperation. Now, the paywall is under pressure, with Turkey looking to reduce them pay-per-view prices dramatically starting next week on the 21st of September with Joshua versus Dubois. Tank needs a significant other in the opposing corner if he's going to maintain being a pay-per-view fighter across the pond. Is he willing to move up to 140 and challenge Teofimo Lopez? They both don't have nothing penciled in, and they're looking at November to make that fight. Hey, if Tank is the face of boxing, it should be a fight that's not an issue for him to take. You know what I mean? They've got to do something to justify an $80, $90, $70, $60 pay-per-view right now. They have to do something, and Frank Martin level of opponents ain't going to cut it. Teofimo, with that WBO 140-pound belt as a bargaining chip, has more star quality than the likes of Frank Martin. That would be a big fight across there. They might be able to justify one more dance with them overinflated pay-per-views. I think it's too soon for Tank. The history dictates that they don't want no one calling them out for a start. With a couple of months to go, no. That's not the way Team Tank and the PBC have done through his career. So equally, I'm not sure how they get out of it. What are the other alternatives? Who is there? Shakur's coming back to fight Zabeda, New Year. It's only a 5-pound jump. Surely he doesn't need any concessions like rehydration clauses on Teo. And Teo's form against the likes of Jermaine Ortiz and Steve Claggett, Tank shouldn't have any fear of Teo if he's cracked up to be what his fan base and pro-Tank Davis media say. He should have no fear taking on Teofimo Lopez. This guy lost to George Kambosos. In my opinion, he lost to Jermaine Ortiz. He didn't look that good against Steve Claggett. Got hit quite a bit. What about Pitbull Cruz? Why didn't he jump up and fight Pitbull Cruz? He's already beat him at 135. What, he doesn't think he can beat him at 140? What's going on? It's in-house. Easy to make. It is what it is. 135 is a little depleted. Zabeda and Stevenson are locked in for the new year. Lomachenko, he's on easy street for the rest of the year. So now, all of a sudden, the PBC might have to work a little harder and maybe take a few more risks with Tank to get him a significant fight to justify pay-per-view. Maybe Tank might phone up Turkey and not ask for 2 Ferraris. See if he can work out a plan.
Who is the man with the master plan?
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.